Alright, so let's take a look at my bow and spear build. We'll start with my gear, then we'll take a look at attributes and my abilities. Basically, I'm running medium weight class, so 22.9 weight, which allows me to run heavy helmet and heavy chest. So I'm running 2 pieces of void band total in my build. One of them is the helmet, heavy helmet, nothing crazy here, resilient, invigorated, just solid. The chest piece, I'm running enfeebling skewer on it. Personally, I like running skewer on my spear. I use it as an initiate as well as an escape, which I can show later on. It does get you out of grav well, by the way, very important note. So basically this piece has refreshing evasion, enfeebling skewer on it. The gloves I'm running are medium, again to keep that 22.9 weight class. Resilient, invigorated, nothing crazy here. The pants are light. This I might change pretty soon. Obviously I want to get gear score 600, but also the perk on it is refreshing pen shot. Running refreshing and refreshing pen shot, so I might change that out for enfeebling poison shot. I think that has more value for my team, especially if I shoot a poison shot into a clump of enemies. That would basically mitigate a ton of damage for my team in aggregate. Like all of the enemies damage combined would be greatly decreased, so I might do that pretty soon. On my boots, I'm running medium boots, basically keen vault kick. After a vault kick, I increase my chance for a crit. That in turn gives me stamina with my spear. And then I'm also running refreshing on it. Then for my jewelry, we've got my amulet, refreshing evasion and health. My best in-slot ring, in my opinion, leeching, refreshing, and keen awareness. This is absolutely crazy. This is the best piece I have. And then earring, refreshing evasion, and refreshing toast. Refreshing toast is super good in group PvP situations. Obviously, in a duel, you should not be taking potions, ideally. And then my spear, keen, vicious, bleeding sweep. Personally, I really like bleeding sweep. It's another debuff. You'll see my build in a second. I like to stack debuffs. I always want to have 3 debuffs on my enemy so that I can stack empower, which we'll get into in a second. But also, it's just nice to have that bleed to make sure that my coup de grace kills the enemy if I do it when they're below like 30% or whatever it is. It's really a solid execute. I don't even have to worry about them at that point. The bleed will kill them. I can turn my attention to the next target. My bow, I just rolled this today. It's not best in slot, but it's pretty damn good. It has mortal fortification. That's nothing crazy. That's just what I rolled on it. It's definitely better than corrupted bane or lost bane or whatever. It has vicious on it, which is good, and it has refreshing move. Personally, I think that the most of the value of the bow comes out of its abilities and not out of its basic attacks. So I like using the basic attacks to refresh my abilities, which is why I like running refreshing move on it. As far as keen goes, ideally I would have keen, vicious, and refreshing move. That, in my personal opinion, would be the best in slot bow. But that said, being a dex user, if I had to choose between keen and vicious, if I had to choose if I want keen or vicious first, I would actually choose vicious, because I mean the 300 bubble on dex guarantees a crit. The first bubble on dex gives you increased crit chance. I'm already running keen awareness here. Like, as a dex user, you're going to be critting a lot anyways, and specifically as a bow user, especially when you're running rain of arrows, vicious becomes really crazy. You could do a ton of damage with it. So I actually like running vicious as a higher priority than keen. Again, obviously best in slot would be keen, vicious, refreshing move, in my personal opinion. And now, just a side note, I am running rabbit stew, so that's 24 dexterity and 16 constitution. That allows me to hit 347 dex and 150 con. So being that I run spear and bow instead of rapier and bow, which is what most people prefer, I'm a lot less mobile, I'm a lot less evasive than rapier bow, so I need to be a little bit more tanky, basically. So that's why I run 150 con and medium armor instead of light armor and less con. Let's go into my abilities. Spear, I'm running skewer, I'm running sweep, and I'm running vault kick. The only one I haven't maxed is deep wound. I don't really need this. The standard bleed duration of 10 seconds is fine. It's more than enough. Basically, anyone who's used spear, you know that aggressive maneuvers is one of the most important abilities. You should be weaving in dodges. If you saw my last video where I show myself doing some PvP, you will see me constantly weave dodges in between my abilities. The reason is because of this passive here. The first successful hit with an ability within 2 seconds of dodging reduces all spear cooldowns by 20%, so super important. Just a quick side note as well, coup de grace is considered a heavy attack, okay? So this here, refreshing reach, successful heavy attacks reduce all spear cooldowns by 15%. Coup de grace will trigger this passive. So that's just a side note. Now, the reason why I like running so many debuffs, and we'll get into my bow skills as well, is because of exploited weakness. Deal 10% bonus damage for each debuff on your target. This stacks up to 30% extra damage. So I constantly want to have 3 debuffs on my enemy. The more the merrier. That way, even if a healer heavy attacks through them and cleanses one, there's still 3 more anyways. So that's why I run maxed out Rain of Arrows and maxed out Poison Shot. So the Poison is another debuff. Rain of Arrows has 2 debuffs basically once maxed out, so the Bleed and the Slow. Personally, and obviously I run Pen Shot that's maxed out. It's a good combo with Rain of Arrows. Now a lot of people are going to go crazy looking at this. They're going to say, why don't you run Hawkeye? Why don't you run Concussion? Hot take maybe, but personally in a group PvP situation like OPR or War, I really don't see myself aiming for the head. Definitely I think that doing AoE damage and focusing on hitting your rains into pen shot combos, into shooting your poison shot into a clump of enemies, etc. I think that's far more valuable than trying to aim for people's heads in clumps where you can barely see anything. On a musket, that may be different. Musket being a hit scan weapon, it's a little bit more reliable. I don't think that it's practical to be aiming for headshots in group PvP situations with a bow. That's my personal opinion. If you want to run this, go for it. If you're just a human aim bot, good for you. I don't think this is really that much value compared to running the build this way, personally. Hawkeye, I don't think this is good at all, actually, to be honest. I don't think anybody should run this, but whatever. To each their own. If you have success with these 2 abilities, and you remove these 2, for example, or you remove this here and this here, or whatever combination, go for it, enjoy. Personally, I like it this way. I don't think headshots on the bow are reliable in anything outside of 1v1 duels. If all you do is duel, knock yourself out, run Concussion, go for it. This one here, aim true, heavy attacks, again, not practical on the bow. Heavy attacks take about 3.5 seconds to charge on the bow. Realistically, you're just not going to be heavy attacking much with this weapon, so I don't run it. That's about it in terms of the abilities and the gear. I'll show you a little bit of how this works. Now, there was a jump shot, quote-unquote, nerf on the bow. You can still jump shot. I'll show you here. So, like that. You can still do it. Basically. Okay, so you could even jump one direction and then dodge back the other. I like doing that. It's pretty useful in a duel situation. I'm talking right now, so I'm actually missing my jumps. So that's the gist of it. I think the jump is still worth doing. And obviously you could, you would Rain of Arrows normally into your pen shot. And as far as the spear rotation goes, I'll show you here. Let me just pull this guy here. Okay. So basically, you would vault kick, skewer, then basic attack into that, and everything's back up. And you can just keep doing this. That's obviously for PvE. For PvP, you'll have certain situational things that you have to be aware of. But for the most part, you just cycle your abilities like that, and you weave in dodges every time you can. So dodge, vault kick, dodge, skewer, dodge, basic, into sweep, and then dodge again. So getting staggered, dodge again, skewer, dodge, basic, sweep, coup de grace, over. So that's the gist of it. That's the build. Tell me what you think of this in the comments. If you would make any modifications or you have any cool ideas, feel free to share. Try it out yourself. Let me know what you think. If you think that Enfeebling Poison Shot is definitely better than Refreshing Pen, let me know. If I'm missing something with this perk, if it is really god tier and I just can't notice it, let me know as well in the comments below. And otherwise, have a good one. Later.